Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek De. Today we are going to start a new tutorial on the Python programming language. In this particular tutorial, I want to show you some basic application of the Python, how the Python is used in order to develop the application, software based application. Later on, what I plan, I want to show you some real-time application, real-time development of the Python also in this particular tutorial series. So I want to segregate this particular tutorial series between like 10 to 14 video tutorials, and in this particular each and every tutorial I want to cover up, I want to showcase very important aspect of the Python from the basic to advanced part. End of the tutorial series, I am going to discuss some common interview questions which is like particularly asked in the multinational level companies also, and also I want to showcase some a real-time project to you, how this particular project has been built up by using the Python programming language. So many things will be covered up in this particular tutorial. 14 tutorials will be there. It might be possible that based on the business requirement, it might be more also. So let us don't waste our time. Let us flip to into the Python programming language and start learning how the things are worked there. So if anyone is asking us like what is basically Python, if anyone is asking us what is Python, what will be our answer? Python is a normal programming language. Now in this particular programming language is used to build up the different kind of application, like from the artificial intelligence to machine learning, from the big data, in any kind of application can be developed and designed by the Python. Not only is this, nowadays in the cloud-based application like AWS, Microsoft Azure, they are also using the Python frequently. Now, before the Python, we need to understand what is programming language. Lots of people from us might know what is programming language, but I am developing this particular video from the scratch level. That is why actually I want to go for the slowly and step-by-step approach. So what is basically programming language? Now, programming language is a one kind of tool. By using this particular tool, we are able to develop the software. We are able to develop what? We are able to develop the software. We are able to provide proper instruction to the computing devices. Let us understand like this way. Suppose we can understand the English communication language. As because we can understand the English, now the thing is that if I instruct my student or if I instruct my subordinate to please do this particular thing, they will definitely do it, right? Now, if I want to provide some instruction to my computer, computer is not able to understand the proper English or the French or the Hindi, like this kind of language, it is not going to understand it. So that's why we should provide a proper instruction to a language which is understandable by the computing devices or the binary devices. And that is basically called programming language. By using the programming language, we are able to create the series of instructions, and based on those instructions, a computer is able to perform a certain tasks. If I segregate the type of the programming language from the beginning, we have the like 4 type of category of the programming languages are present in the market. Procedural language, object-oriented language, scripting language, and modular programming language. C programming language is the example of the procedural. Object-oriented language is basically the Java, C#, .NET, all are basically the object-oriented. Scripting language is Linux shell scripting, Linux. If I want to build up any kind of JavaScript based application, that is also the scripting language. Modular programming language, nowadays no one is working, that is a little bit older language, but the thing is that it was a once upon a time people had worked on it. But nowadays people are not working because lots of demerits are there. Lots of disadvantages are there. Now, if I want to define the Python, where the Python will come? Where the Python will come in this particular place? Python will come in any place. Python can be worked as a like procedural oriented. Python can be defined as an object oriented language. Python can be defined as a scripting language, and Python can be defined as a modular programming language. So in this particular case, we can say Python can be actually used in any area. And that is why Python is called general purpose programming language. Now, let us not waste much time on the theory and let us flip to our practical, how the Python is working. So do one thing, we are using the Anaconda tool. Here we are actually using the Anaconda tool in order to build up the application. Now what is Anaconda? If you are asking me what is Anaconda, see, Anaconda is what? Anaconda is a famous Python tool for the data science also. So if you are using the Anaconda, you are able to achieve lot of things. Like you are able to develop the Python based application. Also you are able to develop any kind of like machine learning application, deep learning application, NLP application, Flux based application. Any kind of application can be developed by the Anaconda also. Even Django is also possible. But in the case of Django, you have to install it in the separately in the Anaconda. So everything is possible in the Anaconda. That is why, guys, I am actually developing the program in the Anaconda, because after the Python series, I am planning to start the machine learning series. And in the machine learning series, actually, this Anaconda tool is actually used. So what I want actually in this particularly tutorial series, you will be completely get accustomed to the particularly Anaconda tool. It's very easy tool. It's a cakewalk. And by using this particular tool, you will learn the Python. Later on, you are able to develop the machine learning based application also. So let us flip to our Anaconda. But before that, you need to understand from where you need to download the Anaconda. So in order to download the Anaconda, you need to do one thing. You just need to just go to your Google Chrome. And from the Google Chrome, actually type in the Google, just download Anaconda. Okay. If you just write the download Anaconda, you can see automatically the page will come. So let us have a look on it. Now you can see download Anaconda, or you can also, if you have the 64-bit operating system also, you can go for the 64-bit also. So here I am writing the downloading the download Anaconda only. Now here individual edition, you can see anaconda.com. Here just you click here, and after that what you can get, just this particular URL will come, anaconda.com products. And after that, in this particular URL, just go here, scroll down, click on the download. Automatically you will have this particular window. Here you can have the Windows, Mac OS and the Linux OS. Now if you are using the Linux or the Mac, you are going for this particular option. But as because I am using here the Windows, that's why here I am using the 64-bit graphical installer. Okay, so let us click here. So here it is start downloading here. So Anaconda, this particularly Anaconda is started installing, but guys, already I have the Anaconda in my system, so I don't need to separately install the Anaconda again. So here I just pause the thing. I just cancel it out because already I have this particular thing in my system. Okay. So now the thing is that after downloading the thing, you can get this particular file called Anaconda. So here you just need to double click on the Anaconda. And after that you will receive a wizard. And after that, it's a quite straightforward process, guy. You just need to click on the next, and after that you need to submit, and all the files will be downloaded. It's not a problem at all. Okay, but if you are facing any kind of difficulties or the problem, please let me inform in the comment box. That time I'll definitely make another video to install this particular thing also. But I believe that you are able to install because it's a quite straightforward thing. You just need to double click here, a window will come, just next wizard will come, and submit it, it will be installed. So after installing the Anaconda, what would be happened actually? You just get what? Just let us close all those things. Now just go here actually. After installing the Anaconda, you will get, like, you just type here Anaconda. You will see a particular option will come. The option is called Anaconda Navigator, and you just need to click here. You just need to click on this Anaconda Navigator. And after clicking the Anaconda Navigator, you will see a particular window will come. This particular window is what? Anaconda Navigator window will come. Now in the Anaconda Navigator window, there are two famous tools are present. One is called Jupyter and one is called Spider. One is called Jupyter Notebook and one is called Spider Notebook. Jupyter is good for the machine learning based application. If you want to develop any kind of deep learning or data science based application, that is Jupyter is also good. But Spider is good for the both the thing. If you want to develop the software or if you want to work on the data science or the machine learning, both the things are actually quite possible in the case of Spider. Anyway, both the tool can manage the particular thing, but anyway, Spider is better tool. Personally, I prefer the Spider because I have seen in my lot of data science and also application development process, like Spider is used by the real time also. So just click on the Spider. You can see the particular window will come. You will see this particular tool will come. After click on the Spider, you can see this particular tool will come. You just need to click on the launch. Just you need to click on this particularly launch tab. And after that, you will see the particularly this particular window will come. That is basically the Spider. Now we can get the Spider. That is fine. We get the Spider. That is fine. Now we need to do some practical right now, because if we don't do the practical, we are not able to understand how the things are working in the Python or what is the flavor of the Python. We are not going to understand it. So let us do one thing. Let us create a file here. So file, you just click on the new file. After that file, you need to save the file here. So in this particular case, I'm keeping the file here. So Python, I am keeping the particular file, suppose in the 2020 folder, in the August, and here I'm using the particular thing called today's date I'm specifying. So you are having this particular file, guys. I'm keeping the name file1.py. So py is what? .py is the extension of the Python. .py is what? It is the basic extension of the Python. Now, in the case of Python, suppose I want to print something, we'll start from the scratch, guys. Okay, so if I want to print something, see, in any kind of application, three things are there: input, process, and output. So if I want to visualize something or if I want to make some print, okay, so here, what I am using the print statement, and in the print statement here, I define here, what I define here, suppose I define here the famous statement called hello world. I am just defining, just save the file. You will get the arrow sign here, guys. Just click here, and after that you will get this hello world. This particular message is coming, famous message. So now we get what? We get the hello world message. That is fine. Now guys, I want to show you some operations of the Python. Before that, in any programming language, few things are very basic, and that is very common. Number one, we need to understand what is variable. Now, what is variable? Variable is a one kind of memory location where the data is actually stored, where the physical data is stored. Suppose I am storing some data. Suppose I want to store some data like 10, 20, 30, or if I want to store like John, Ram, if I want to store, that time actually I need to have the memory location. And this memory location is called what? This memory location is called variable. Okay. So here I am declaring a particular variable called suppose name. And here I define Ram in the single quote. So here I define the Ram, and now I want to print. So in order to print something, print statement should be there. Now I want to print here welcome, and also I want to print what? I want to print welcome Ram. What I want to print? I want to print the welcome Ram and execute the code. You can see I am getting what? I am getting the welcome Ram. This particular message is coming in my console. Welcome Ram is coming in my console. That is fine. So after that, what would be happened actually? We are getting the welcome Ram. This particular message is coming here. Now guys, actually we are receiving this particular data. We are receiving this particular message. That is fine. We are getting this particular data. Now guys, actually I want to assign some integer data, or I want to assign some number. So if I want to assign some number, suppose I am assigning m equal to 20, n equal to I am assigning 10. Suppose I want to assign m equal to m plus I want to assign n, and also I just assign the print, and here I assign the p. So if I execute the code, I can see I am getting what? I am getting the total is 30. I am getting this particular information in my console. So if I want to define the total is here, also provide the total is equal to, now execute the code. It's a very basic code, guys. Total is 30. We are getting the total is 30. Fine. Now, notice one thing here. Here I define the RAM. Here I define 20. Here I define 10. But I am not specifying any kind of data type before the variable. Now, what is data type? If you have any idea of any programming language like C programming language also, you know that before the variable we need to declare the data type. If we don't declare the data type, our variable, our application will not understand what is the data type is present here. Our framework will not understand. In the case of C or the Java programming language, the same thing happens. In the case of Java, I have to define like string name, like this kind of things are present. But here we don't need to do this kind of things. In the case of Java, we have to define int before the n, or in the case of C programming language, the same thing defined. But here I don't need to define int. See, if I define the int, error will come. So here the int I don't need to define here separately. So what would be happened here actually in this particular case? What did happen, guys? I am only declaring m equal to 20 and n equal to 10. Why? What is the reason behind it? Because Python is supported by the dynamic data type. Python is supported by what? It is supported by the dynamic data type or the dynamic type of data. Now, what is dynamic data type? See, in the case of normal data type, if anyone is asking you the question, what is data type? What will be your answer? At first, you need to understand. If anyone is asking you guys, what is basically data type? What will be your answer actually? You will definitely write something that time. What you write? You will write data type . Data type is what? Data type is a special type of keyword which defines the type of data inside variable. Like normal data type, like our C programming language also, we have to define integer a equals to 10, like this. We have to define all those things. But here in the case of C programming language, you have to define like char name. You have to define here like you are defining what? You are defining here something like that size. That is basically the string. Definitely you know all those particular thing, right? So that is basically what here, what you are defining here, you are defining something like that size of the string also. That is fine. It is possible, right? If I want to define the Java, that time what you are defining, in the case of Java, what you are defining, you have to define the string name. Suppose string name equals to, you are providing the name called, suppose you are Raju, you are defining. So that is what, that is basically the before the variable you need to specify what is the data type behind the variable. You need to specify this particular thing, right? But in the case of Python, now we don't need to do this particular thing because Python is supported by what? Python is supported by the dynamic data type. Dynamic data type. In the case of dynamic data type, what would be happened? The framework of the programming language, will check the pattern of the data, and based on pattern of the data, it can decide the data type inside variable, right? That is basically what? That is basically our, that is basically what? That is basically the particularly dynamic data type. Means if you declare here a equal to 20, if you declare here equal to 20, what would be happened? Framework will check that 20 is present here. 20 is what? 20 is number, and automatically what did happened actually, it will understand, it is basically what? It will understand automatically, it is basically, it will understand what? It will understand that it is basically the integer. It is basically what? It will understand automatically that it is basically our int. Int means what? Integer. So if I declared here b equal to something like that, if I declared b equal to Ram, if I declare this particular thing, and after that I can easily understand that is basically what it is, basically the string type of data. So in this particular case, what I can understand, that framework will check the data automatically and framework will decide what is the data type behind the variable. This particular process is called dynamic data type. Guys, in the type of interview, the difference between the data type and the dynamic data type is asked in the time of Python interview actually. That's why please note down this particular thing. So anyway, so here I have declared the m equal to 20, n equal to 10. Now suppose here I am declaring, suppose I declared x equal to, in bracket I declared 10, y equal to, in the bracket what did I declare? I declared in the bracket y equal to, I declared 20, and z equal to what I declared, z equal to I declared x plus y. I declared this particular thing, then I declared print z, right? Then what would be the expected answer? Now see, I have defined the single quote 10, single quote 20. Now let us execute the code. You will see the answer 1020. Why? What is the reason behind it? Because here we have defined the particular data inside the single quote. Single quote 10, single quote 20. Single quote 10, single quote 20 means what? Single quote 10, single quote 20 means that is basically the string type of data. See, number can also be the string, not only alphabet. Suppose I am telling you in our house number, in our like Aadhaar number, PAN number, Aadhaar number, everywhere actually we have the particular data, particularly number is present. But this number is not a calculative number. Nah, it's not like that we are going to calculate the Aadhaar number, or it's not going to happen that PAN number or the passport number is going to be calculated, right? So this kind of data is basically what? It is basically our string type of data. That is why string is called alphanumeric data type. Alphanumeric means what? Alphabet is also present and also number is also present. That is why also you can understand here string is called what? String is called alphanumeric data type. String is called what? It is called the alphanumeric data type. Now here I am defining the 10, I define the 20, so that is the number, but in this particular case that is the string type number. Now what I want to actually convert this particular data. I want to convert this particular data into the pure number. So what should I do? So in order to do this particular thing, I am calling a predefined function called int. So the name of the function is called int function. Int function is used for what? This function is used to convert the string data into the integer data. String data means string number into the integer. So here I just execute the data. What I can get right now, that is basically 30. So what I am calling the int function, and by using the int function we are able to convert the data from the number string into pure integer data. So the name of the function is called what? Note down the guys. The name of the function is called int, and this function is used for what? It is used to convert the data from the string to integer. Same happens, suppose I am having a particular thing called m equal to, I have like 10.5, I have the n equal to, I have like 20.5, and after that what I want actually, that is all a decimal number. I want to add the value. So what should I call? I call the float function float m, plus I can also take the float, also I can write here float n, and after that what should I do actually? I just write the print, and also I can write here, what I can write here? I can write here total is equals to comma p. Just execute the code, and after that what I can get? I can get total is 31.0. Guys, already you have seen that three type of data type already: string, float and integer. Apart from the string, float and integer, all are basically the simple type. More types are there like list, tuple, dictionary. They are all complex type, and all the complex type data type I will discuss on my future session also. Not this particular session, this particularly video tutorial. I am going to discuss this kind of thing in our future tutorial also. Now the thing is that I want to do some like true and false operation. So if I want to make the true and false operation, there is a data type called Boolean. The name of the data type is called Boolean. Suppose let us take an example. Suppose I have a particular thing called, I have like x equal to, I am writing 1. Now I just write here print, I want to convert the 1 into the true. So I am calling what? I am calling the function called bool function, and here I am passing the x as a parameter. So now if you just execute the data, execute the code, you can see I am getting the true. So what is converted into the true? The 1 is converted into the true. Why 1 is converted into the true? I am calling the bool function. Bool means boolean, and by using the bool we are able to convert the 1 into the true. But if you have the y equal to 0, and if you want to convert this particular thing print, I am taking the bool. Here I am passing the y as a parameter. I am executing the data. I am executing the code. You can get what? We can get the false. So that is what, that is basically the basic data type operation, guys. That is the basic data type operation. Now already we have seen the basic data type operation here also. Okay. So in my next video tutorial, I will discuss it how to take the input from the particularly keyboard, how to take that particularly data from the keyboard, and after that all the operations, how the operations will be performed. I'll show this particular thing in my next tutorial. Okay, so guys, actually that is basically my first tutorial. So please do do subscribe, give a big thumbs up, give a big like on this particular video. Please do share this particular video, then others can be benefited. I am planning to like showcase more tutorial, also bring more tutorial like Python, big data, machine learning, .NET. I am planning to showcase more tutorial also at future, step by step. Regularly I'll upload the 1 or 2 tutorials of the Python. Now I'll finish the Python, then I'll start the machine learning also. Okay, so please give a big thumbs up, big yes, please do subscribe, share and like my video. Okay, thank you.